This is our Unfiltered Sparks session 3, which is about honest conversation that result in real changes, basically. And today we have Mala Banerjee, who's a storyteller. And before we get into the guest speaker, I just want to tell about myself as well. I'm Smita Omeshan. I'm a coach, CA, mentor, author. These are the various tags which I have. But normally I call myself a traveler through life. And today we have Mala, whom I met in a coaching journey. So in my coaching journey, she's been partnering with me in a lot of sessions, and she's like a calm, composed version of me, whom I look up to basically. And she herself is a coach, a seasoned coach, I can say that. And she's also a McKinsey leader, former McKinsey leader, and she also works with McKinsey in some capacity now also. And she's also a videographer. So I call her as a traveler, coach, and a creator, because she works with media and all. And today she's here to tell us more about storytelling. And I want to give the space to her now to come and speak about herself.
Thank you, Smita. You already covered most of it. I would say that the only thing that is common between the coaching world and my creative space of video and animations is the storytelling, actually. So I find storytelling quite useful in life in general, in my coaching journey, and of course, making videos require a lot about storytelling. So that's where I am.
So yeah, today we'll divide this section into some few parts, like you're a creator, you're a traveler, as well as what you call coach as well. So let me bring out some questions to you in different formats so that it's easy to navigate through as well. So yeah, so I want to know what led you into the world of coaching, so that people can understand what coaching is can offer to people as well.
Right. I don't know whether it will actually clarify that question for people or not, but it's just another funny story about coaching. Sometime during my, frenzied life in McKinsey, one senior director told me that I should get into coaching. And very honestly, I had no idea what coaching was about. And I sat on that idea for like 5 years thinking, I don't know what he meant and why he said that. But then another time, another mentor just pushed me into coaching, and I said, okay, if everybody is telling me to do this, maybe there's a point to it. Maybe I should look I took a cheap online course to understand what coaching was about. And again, very honestly, I got even more confused when I went through the course. So I went to a university and I said, I'm thoroughly confused. And they said, welcome home. We will clarify your doubts. And I have never looked back since then. I mean, because I think coaching has been a very, very interesting journey for me. And I think the senior director was right. And now I kind of regret not getting into the space earlier. But, there's a time and a time for everything. Time and space, yeah.
So in the coaching area, what is the powerful breakthrough you've witnessed so far? And is there any experiences you can remember from your coaching life or coaching journey, in other words, if I want to say?
Too many experiences per se, but I would like to bring here one of the most powerful breakthroughs I have had, mostly because if it helps anyone or if they share it with anyone, maybe someone else can benefit from that insight I got, and it may not be the same for everyone. So I have been on this weight loss journey for like forever. And it has been an extremely slow journey. It still is, in spite of the insight, but I will tell you what happened. Like, how coaching works, it doesn't actually give you the solutions. It comes from your mind. So suddenly somewhere in my, learning about science of what sweets are about, sweets generate dopamine. Dopamine is also generated in the first phases of love. So basically, when you reach out for a sweet, you're actually reaching out for love. You're actually, but then sweet is not really love. It's actually toxic love. So that when I associated the toxic love with my ex, it was such a very powerful, like every time I see a sweet box, I see his face on it. And that, it makes it easier for me to avoid sweets. So that was a very, I would say, very powerful insight for me. But I thought it's, it's scientific, it's scientifically based, and it's an insight that can benefit others. So I share that with everyone who is on a weight loss journey. that hey, you can use this technique and it's based on science. So, just might work.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting story. Interesting insight with the weight loss and how you can get into a healthy way of life as well. Yeah. So now let's come into into travel. So what made you travel the world? Because I think you've done around 35 countries, right?
Yeah, yeah. What made me travel the world? Good question. I don't know. I think traveling is probably like a book which is more active. So you learn so much in the journey. Like you meet so many people, and some of the most interesting conversations that you have are with strangers because there is no judge. I mean, sometimes I have had the most interesting conversations without knowing the name of the person, without sharing my name. But those are just. Memories that I will never forget. So those are very, very powerful interactions, powerful experiences. I mean, if given an extra bit of money, I'll still travel because because the experiences stay with you, right? I mean, everything else perishes, but the experiences stay with you, and they make you grow.
Yeah. So is there any specific place which is your favorite, or it's there in the bucket list you want to still go and see it?
One of the bucket list I'm going to do with you, Smita.
That is Northern Lights, yeah.
Yeah, the Northern Lights. So that has been sitting on my bucket for a very long time, and I actually booked everything, and then COVID happened. So, another story, another time. But if what was your original question? I forgot.
So I wanted to know which is your favorite destination. Have you ever favorite place of travel?
Oh, for me, I usually don't travel in the same place again and again because I'm kind of on a bucket list, and I think by the time I get through the bucket list, I'll be too old to travel. There's just a lot of stuff in there. But place that I would love to revisit mostly is Nepal, really, because I love the mountains and people are really nice there. Plus, it's cheap. It's a place where at least Indian rupees mean a little bit than Europe, for example. So yeah, Nepal.
So, can you share a moment of any discomfort you had during your travel?
Oh yes, one of the big ones was in Rome. I got robbed in Rome.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
And there was a high chance that I could have been beaten up as well. I just ran because I knew what was coming, so I just gave the money and ran. But it was a very bad experience. I have never forgotten that. And one of the key learnings from that is never to take a place for granted. Like even if it's a rich country, there are. I mean, even in New York, there are communities and places where if you go in the night, it's a very big problem. So to do my research before I travel and not to take any place for granted.
So yeah, so a lot of insightful. I mean, you are a storyteller. You have a lot of stories to tell. I mean, for not only about the places, about the coaching, and now the curiosity for me to know is more about your creative side of you, because you do a lot of videos and a lot of like animation work and all. That's what I've heard about your past work before you came into coaching. So can you just put some light on that as well?
Yeah, I am been in the business of corporate communication, but mostly to do with the visuals. So graphics, and then I graduated to getting into videos. Videos has been my passion since I can remember getting into graphics. But the career more or less evolved. I have been working with McKinsey for 30 years. So, when I got into the job, scenario, there was no career as far as graphic designing was concerned. So, it was that long ago. So I just evolved, and I love doing videos. I still love doing videos because it's like cooking. You get an instant gratification out of seeing a work at the end of the day and say, "Oh, I created this." It's a good feeling. So I still I have my own business now of making videos, and I mean, it's animation and videos included. Sorry, I interrupted. You were going to say something.
Something you had mentioned about in motion or something, design in motion, right? Something like that is
Design in Motion is the name of my organization. Yes.
What is it all about?
It's actually because it's motion graphics. So it's a lot of, it's actually design in motion. Okay. So that's why, because at the motion design word was not available in the in GoDaddy, so I just decided to make it a little bit more creative, and I like this better, to be honest. When I came up with it, I was like, that actually sounds better than motion design. Motion designers are like pat out there,
Yeah. Yeah, so we heard you talk about the creative side of you and travel as well as coaching. So what about the storyteller in you? Let's get in there, because we're all waiting to see more that side of you. So how is storytelling related to all these areas of in your life?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Storytelling is probably the only little subset which is common in all of that,
Mm.
and it's common as a person. I mean, as who I am as well, because
Yeah.
I really like telling stories, because it's there in our DNAs as little kids. Also, I love to hear about stories of kings and thieves and you name it. And even today, like for example, see Bahubali is a big hit because it talks about the kings and mythological stories. All these stories are there is a reason why this is a success, is because it's there in our DNA. As little kids, we were, and that's how the civilizations evolved. Before scripts were there, people would just tell stories, and that's how the civilizations evolved, and the stories just remained. Some stories remained, some stories evolved, and that's how it's been. So it's very, very into part of our DNA, just like being gregarious is.
Hmm. So is there any stories which you tell everyone whenever you meet them? Is there any interesting stories you have which you can share with our audience today?
No, there are no stories that I tell everyone whenever I meet them.
Okay.
No, that's not how it works. But there's a little story I remember in McKinsey. We had once this competition where they had this thing about tell a story and be famous in McKinsey, and it was like something that will get published in the intranet within McKinsey. So
Yeah.
mine was published actually, and it's a story very favorite to my heart.
Mm.
And it's very relatable a story, because all of us are ambitious, and whoever I speak to in coaching, everybody wants to make an impact. Everybody wants to make their presence felt in the world.
Mm.
And there is this little story about starfishes, and where does that come from? I'll tell you. So I'll tell you the story. It's a very small story about there was this guy who was walking on a beach,
Mm.
and on the beach there were millions of starfishes spread across, and these starfishes had come from the ocean and they were not able to go back.
Mm.
They had come on a tide and they were not able to go back. And there was this guy strolling in the beach and picking one starfish and throwing it in the ocean, picking starfishes and throwing. And there was this other guy, hunched back, sitting in the corner, and he was watching this guy doing all this. And he actually stopped him and said, "There are millions of starfishes. How are you going to make any difference?"
Mm.
And this guy picked up one more starfish, threw it in the ocean, and said it made a difference to that one. So it was a very, very, the moral of the story is just so hard hitting that whenever we try and make a huge difference and all that, I take my life as one starfish at a time. I don't, these coaching conversations for me is one starfish at a time. I don't feel that, okay, what if I don't make a big impact? Well, I did have that thought that there are millions of these, abused women, whatever I want to work on, all of that is one starfish at a time.
Cool. Interesting. I really like another story of yours you keep telling about. That's the hammock one. I want you to share that story as well with the others. So it's very interesting.
Yes. This is my favorite story in coaching, particularly. You know why? Because a lot of us are, when I tell the story, you will understand why, but let me tell the story first. So again, I don't know why it's again a beach. So,
Yeah, you're a Piscean. I think that's the reason it's again
I don't know where just out of coincidence maybe, but yeah, maybe you have a point. So this guy was on a beach, a suited booted guy with a suitcase in hand, running towards the beach, and there was this other guy lying down on a hammock reading a book, and this guy condescendingly looks at him and says, "You lazy bum, you're just sitting there reading a book. Look at me. I'm there, and my ship is here. I'll make another 7 ships." And this hammock guy just kept asking, "Okay, and then and then what will you do, and then what will you do? And this guy went on like, I'll have a fleet of ships, and I will do this, and then I will sit on the hammock and read a book. And this fellow says, well, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So the reason why I tell this story is a lot of my coaches have this contradiction between the ambitious one and the little what do you call it, a little hammock guy inside them that just wants to chill a little bit,
Mhm.
So just to remove that conflict, that hey, there is no conflict, they're all working towards the hammock and the chilling,
Mm.
makes a huge difference between what happens inside them. And then they start, because most of the times when we fight a conflict within ourselves, we actually use up so much of energy with that we have very little energy left for that little guy with the suitcase who was going
Mm.
after the ship. So once you remove the conflict and everything becomes positive, then you give more energy to your ambitions, and that's how you make a breakthrough. That's what I do.
Yeah. So people who want to go to the hammock route, they can go the straight direct route, or they can take steps to do that, right? That's
Well, what's wrong with sometimes going for the ship and sometimes being on the hammer? People can choose what they want to do, but this
exactly.
story has been very hard hitting for me, and for I think a lot of people that I have shared it with.
So yeah, so very interesting stories. Yeah, I want to know whether you have more stories for us to listen to, or can I get into a rapid fire round? There's something which I wanted to do from this session. I never did it in the earlier two sessions. I thought, let me do this fun element here because you are a storyteller. Let me begin with that. So, is there any story you want to add first?
I haven't thought of any. There are many stories. I like these monk stories a lot.
Yeah.
So have you heard? It's like a little joke, but one of the guys, it's a spiritual little story, but one of the guys was, now this is in a mountain, it's not a beach. Okay.
Okay.
So this guy was, going up the mountain, and in a cave, he found someone, and he was like sitting there in meditation. And this guy says, hey, where is all your stuff? And he said, well, you know, where is all your stuff? And he says, well, I'm a tourist. I'm just here to travel. And the guy says, well, me too. That's it. Did you
So
get it?
yeah, so one is with the baggage of stuff and the other is free.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
But the
Okay.
point is that we are all like travelers, and it's all temporary.
Yeah.
So the amount
Temporary.
of materialistic stuff that we surround ourselves with is, at the end of the day, it's we are just travelers.
Yeah. That's true. We come with nothing and we go with nothing as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
So let me get into this rapid fire. Is it anything else you want to? Did I miss on covering any part of yours, or you wanted to reflect upon something which you can give to the audience as a storyteller?
No, you inspired me to tell another little one like this. And just coming out
Sure,
of
sure,
my
sure.
bag, I am full of these stories that
So
I love.
yeah, I know you have a
Um,
bag full of stories. Yes.
I'm back. So there was again this mountain and cave scenario, same thing, right? And the sage was sitting naked with a little lion cloth, and this guy who was trekking beside him and said, hey, you're all naked. So and this fellow says, well, your face is naked. Says, yeah, that's my face. Says, me all face. Yeah, just another. I mean, the sage said he's all face. You see,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it. Got it.
there's just a matter of reference that.
Reference. Yeah. So is there art behind the storytelling? Is there a secret behind the storytelling which you do? Is it okay if you can share it with us? Okay.
I wanted to share the secret, and it's very funny that it became a secret only when I got to know that I have it, and that's what I do, and that's what makes it impactful. So I
Hmm.
want to share that with the group and say, whenever you're telling a story,
Hmm.
one, even if you're reading it out, make it from your imagination to the person that you're telling the story.
Hmm.
So when I am telling a story, I am not just telling the words, I'm actually imagining the beach. I'm
Hmm.
actually imagining the guy with the suitcase
Hmm.
and the hammock guy. and everything. So when I'm telling, it sounds more like describing the stuff to me, but from the other person's point of view, it becomes more real because it's my imagination to yours. So that
Hmm.
is my secret,
Okay.
if it's a secret at all, actually.
So yeah, so we tend to get to imagine that the way you tell us, right? Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I'm a dancer, so I can relate that. I, for me also, visual impact is there. That I need to visualize something, then only I can enact about it. Yeah, probably is. So can I get into the rapid fire, or are you avoiding that section?
Yeah, I was trying to avoid that, but yeah, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
we have little time, and I'll not take more than a minute of it.
Sure, sure, sure.
So what is the one quote you live by?
Live and let live.
Hmm. And is there a book that has changed your life?
Again, too many to mention, but there was this one book called Roots. I don't know if anybody has read this. It was very, very hard hitting. Even the movie was very, very hard hitting. It was all about the apartheid, and and it was written by a person whose grandfather was actually caught as a slave, and his name is Alex Haley. That's the author. So his grandfather was taken as a slave, and he was the grandson of, and he was telling the whole story of the generation through like first person, and about his father and everything, and it's just very, very hard hitting.
Hmm. So is there any book which you want us to read, which can have an impact on the readers? No.
Like a true coach, I will never impose anything on anybody.
Okay.
But, Roots was, if you are interested in apartheid. There's a movie also. If the book is just so yeah, it's quite a thick book.
Hmm.
But yeah, the movie is also very interesting, and they do a very good justice to the book. Sometimes how movies don't ever do justice, but this movie was so hard hitting that I actually couldn't watch the whole movie. I just switched to it. It was just too much. And yeah.
So being a traveler and a storyteller, what is it that you like, sunrise or sunset, or both?
I'm not a morning person, so sunrises have been much less compared to the sunset. Uh,
And which is a favorite sunset place and or a sunrise place as well, if there is any?
Sunrise, Nepal for sure.
Yeah, that's what.
Uh, yeah, sunset, Cape Town for sure. It's
Hmm.
like it was like God painting on the sky. It was really beautiful. Like I just stood there for 3 hours, just
Hmm.
looking at the sunset. Yeah,
So is there any specific habit that has helped you stay grounded?
meditation. Even though I'm not that regular and I don't do that many minutes as I would aspire to do, but yeah, that's what keeps me grounded.
So what do you want to tell the people, audience who are here, that regarding the solo trip, if they have something in their mind to go ahead and do the solo trip, what is one piece of advice?
Oh, by all means, travel solo. I think solo, when you're traveling with someone, with a partner or with a friend and all that, what happens is your aura becomes closed. Like, people don't approach you. But when you are solo, people approach you. You are also a little bit free to, do whatever you want. Uh, just it gets more free flowing, and there is a lot more learning and growth when someone does it solo. Yeah.
So I think I've come to an end. So done with my rapid fire questions. And I know that you sketch also, right? You've done pretty well on that questions as well, the rapid fire ones. So you do sketching also. That's what I heard. Do you do it now as well?
Unfortunately, that's a hobby that slipped away, Smita. I would love to, take it back up. Actually, you inspired me with your sketches, and I'm like, look at this dancer, come, see. You inspired me in so many ways, but the sketching still is suffering. I have got the stuff I need to. I do this, but it's in low priority at the moment.
Okay. So like in your, how are you? So you're a creative person, storyteller, and you've been a leader as well. How are you with numbers? Do numbers also excite you?
No,
Yeah.
I think I'll be fired the next day if I had to be doing a CS job for sure. I'm horrible at it. Yeah.
So yeah, so all the best for your design in motion initiative as well. And is there
I
anything?
thought I thought you were going to say all the best in learning numbers. Yeah, okay,
No, no,
continue.
no, no. I don't want you to come back to this side. I want to see the storyteller or the creative side of you, not the number side of you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
is there something you want to tell the audience as a takeaway from the sessions we had now? And
Yeah, it's just that my imagination to yours is the key thing that I would love to share. And I would love it if people are on video. I don't think we are so dressed up that people can't appear even if they are in their pajamas. I would have loved to say hello to all of our participants and thank them for, because in today's day and age, just sparing that time is the biggest gift that anyone can give anyone. So all the 5 members and of course the HerKey community, thank you for being here.
So I'll open it up for the questions. So anybody has questions for Mala, do let us know so she can answer those questions in case you have it for her or for me. We are there. And either you can put it in the chat, or if you want, you can ask and be on the camera and ask us.
Camera optional.
So there are no questions or anything you want to, any stories you guys have to share with us or anything? Oh, thanks. So Rashmi Raj is saying that thanks for all the insights so far. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The words, yeah. The stories you've shared are wonderful.
Yeah. Hi, Mala. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm Jennifer. So this was really good, and it was few things were really relatable. Hi, Smita.
Hi, Jennifer.
So Mala, I just want to ask you, what kind of coaching are you into? Is it any specific coaching? What is it like?
So right now I am on my PCC journey, if you know the ACC PCC level.
Okay. Yeah.
My PCC journey.
Wow.
I do corporate coaching. I'm actually a coach in McKinsey, but an external one because I had to leave my full-time job. It's a long story. Forget about all of that. But I coach McKinsey.
Got it.
And I'm doing executive coaching. I do life coaching, and eventually I actually really want to focus on the abused women part of coaching most, because I'm a survivor myself, and I think there's a lot of scope for people who are coming back from, say, a narcissistic abuse. That's my specialty, that I would love to coach.
Wow. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jennifer, for that question. So I think there is more question for you. Rashmi is asking, what are the 3 things you will tell one must keep in mind when telling a story? That is a good one.
Yeah, make it as natural as possible. It doesn't matter if you forget some details. It doesn't matter. Nothing, people don't judge the other person so harshly. Like sometimes when we are even doing public speaking, we are just so scared, like, as if people will throw rotten tomatoes at us or something. But my point is most people are just there to be entertained. And if you can keep the story going, and if you can put in a little bit of humor, this has worked for me all the time, is that if every once in a while, if I say something humorous, people just listen to all of the stuff just for that little humor, to just because laughing is the most de-stressing stuff. And hey, all of us can do with de-stressing every now and then, right? So that's what I do. I put in a little bit of humor every now and then, a little bit of wit to make sure that I don't lose anybody's attention, because attention is a very, very difficult thing to keep at the moment.
Yeah. There is one more. How do you stand out? Just one more. How do you stand out now that almost everyone is a storyteller?
I don't even aspire to stand out, actually. So I just do what I have to do in whichever, like if there's a forum that I have to speak, like for this one, but this one is storytelling by itself. But anywhere I'm supposed to speak, or any person that I'm supposed to motivate, I just bring in humor. And most of the times that de-stresses a person, makes the person let go of their defenses, and then you can connect from human to human. Then that's the breakthrough that I always look for whenever if you're trying to influence anyone, and the whole idea is not to influence anyone, but if you're trying to at all, by influence I mean if you're trying to put your not story across, but if you're trying to put your point across also, you need to get that person in your side, more or less. So it's called rapport building in NLP, but it's all about just connecting human to human. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, that's a very sage advice, ma'am. Yeah, okay. So I think I want to, when you said humor about storytelling, I want to ask, do you have anything in mind to do like stand-up comedy or something? Because you
That
bring
would
good.
be my dream career. Just, but the place is saturated, and very few people
Yeah,
get an open mic opportunity.
yeah,
But I see that there is space for oldies, because then most of the people are very young, and I think like Amit Tandon, for example, is my favorite because he's kind of in my age group, and what he says is relatable to me. So I feel that I can do this, but I have to earn money as well. So I'm you know I'm keeping that as a hobby that I'll get to at some point of time in life, if at all. I'm just happy making the people that I know laugh, and that's good enough.
yeah. So you guys can imagine how interesting our coaching conversations are. We don't normally extend our time. It's normally a 40-45 minute session which we have, but generally goes beyond that because we have stories to share and laughter to share, basically. Yeah, I think we're done with questions. If are there any more questions or any clarifications or anything anybody needs?
I actually have a question for the group, which is, when you tell a story, how do you do it? Like, because my secret is my imagination to yours. What is your secret?
Hmm. Do I have to answer that?
Yeah, yeah, of course it includes you.
So I feel like a child when I'm telling a story. I enact it. That's the way I become one of the characters. So that's why it's easy for me to do that. So being a dancer, it comes very naturally that you can enact. No, so that's the reason I want to be one of the characters and tell. So if it's a Krishna Yashoda story, I will take one of the side and actually believe that I'm that character, and then start my story like that.
Nice. Somebody had something to say. Kavita had something to say, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Samira said first question is, could you give an example of how you use humor to break down someone's defenses?
Uh,
And
and
that's what. Could you give me an example of how you use humor to break down someone's defenses?
Well, there is humor in everything, If I take myself a little light, and if I take life a little light, because at the end of the day, I mean, like that sage, I mean, we are here temporarily, right? So what's the point in taking ourselves so seriously, or taking any situation for that matter? I mean, it's just everything is temporary. So that philosophy of life makes it easy for me to see humor in everything, in the worst cases as well. So I mean, if the situation doesn't call for humor, I bring humor. Mostly I think it's the easiest to laugh at myself, and that usually breaks the other person's defenses, and they start it's difficult for someone, it's like it has to be a very depressed person that you smile at, and that person doesn't smile back, right? So humor is the same. So when you throw something about your life and laugh at it, it makes the other person look at it, and then it breaks down defenses. That's what I've noticed so far, and I can connect better with humor.
Yeah, I agree to that. If you can laugh at your own self or on something which is happening, then it becomes easy for the other person, ice breaking. So yeah, I've heard about Samira's question we've answered. Kavita said, I try to imagine and write, ma'am, but I struggle to write a story.
Hmm.
And Rashmi said that I see it in my head like a movie and describe it as I see it, like watching a movie.
Perfect. So there is no secret. Like I said, it's common sense. Most people probably do it.
So yeah, probably I think we are done with questions and
Struggling to write.
yeah, that you can address if you want to address. That is, I see it in my, I try to imagine and write, ma'am, but I struggle to write. That's Kavita's
Chat
question.
GBT. That's my solution. If you're struggling to write, I mean, there's AI to help right now. Don't
Yeah.
struggle too much. It's depends on what the storytelling is about, but Chat GBT can help with. I feel that it does a very good job. I started using Chat GBT as well. It was not allowed in our company, but once I started on my own, and just a few months ago, I realized that a lot of the video script that I struggled to write on my own, ChatGPT gave a good framework which I could just edit, and then I had a pretty good story to tell. So yeah, if you're struggling to write, ChatGPT.
So, yeah, so in case you want to understand more about AI tools, we did a session last Monday also. Tanushri
Tanushri.
had come. She also explained how you can use it for writing and various other purposes for your personal benefits. The AI tools definitely help you with the productivity. And we have another session coming up. This is the third. This was the third. The fourth one is about branding and brands. So Vidya will be there next week for our fourth session. So let's see all of you there at 4 p.m. next Monday. And thanks everyone for your time. And I had a wonderful time, Mala, with you. And
Same here, always.
so, okay. Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Smita. Thank you, Malaji. Wonderful.
Smita.
The energy you brought in was amazing. So a lot of positivity, which felt whole during the session. So
Yeah.
keep the spirits high. And I love the way you have been very candid about your storytelling and how you make it very humorous by adding the examples and all that. Of course, it works the best. Thank you so much for joining us on the HerKey platform for our community. And thank you, Smita, for hosting this session.
Thank
As Smita already mentioned, we have another session lined up on 7th of July. The link is right there in the chat box. Build your brand, power talk with Vidya Marathe. Right now, the session is another session is live right now as we are speaking. Overcoming your internal biases, reprogramming the voice in your head. Those who are available, please do click on the link and join the session. Thank you so much. Signing off. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Same here.
Bye bye.